The great words for Imam Ali alayhis salam said by the other people.
According to the words of Gibbon, Imam Ali Ibne AbuTalib alayhi salam was a poet, a soldier, and a saint. His wisdom still breathes in a collection of moral and religious sayings, and every antagonist in combats of the tongue or the sword was subdued by his eloquence or valor.
Justice Amir Ali sums up his achievements in the following words: "Thus died in the prime of his life the best-hearted Muslim to use." Allama Ibn Abil Hadid al-Mutazalli, the commentator of Najul Balagha, which is a book of sermons, letters, sayings of Imam Ali alayhi salam, says,
Hazrat Imam Ali alayhi salam has had a personality in which opposite characteristics had so gathered that it was difficult to believe that a human mind could manifest such a combination.
Allama Ibn Abil Hadid al-Mutazalli further continued that he was the bravest man that history could cite. Such brave persons are always hard-hearted, cruel, and eager for bloodshed, but Imam Ali alayhis salam was a kind-hearted, sympathetic, and warm-hearted person, qualities quite contradictory to other phases of his character, and more suited to pious and God-fearing persons. Once in the society of Abdullah, the son of Imam Malik ibn Hanbal, a discussion took place about Imam Ali alayhis salam and his Khilafat.
Abdullah brought the discussion to an end, saying that the Khilafat did not bring any honor and glory to Imam Ali alayhis salam, but it was honored and glorified by Imam Ali alayhis salam, and it received the status actually due to it.
Allama Mustafa Beg, the famous Egyptian scholar, writes, "What can be said about such a holy personage as Imam Ali alayhis salam, who excelled all the companions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in his attributes and qualities? He was the most learned person, the bravest man, and the most eloquent speaker and orator. His piety, his love of God, and his sincerity and fortitude in following religion were of such high order that none could aspire to reach him." Allama Mustafa Beg, the famous Egyptian scholar, further continued,
He, due to his sagacity and thorough knowledge of the human mind, always arrived at correct conclusions, and never changed his decision. He possessed such a transcending and peerless qualities which caused many scholars to imagine him to be an incarnation of God. He hated tricks and diplomacy, and loved truth and justice, and had it not been for the fear of God, he would have been renowned as the greatest Arab politician.
Imam Shafi, the founder of one of the four Sunni schools of religious laws, pays glowing tributes to Imam Ali alayhis salam in the following words: Imam Ali alayhis salam had four such qualities that if even one of them is found in anyone, he will not desire the world or care for the worldly people. Number one, he was a holy man, given to prayers and abstinence, and holy men do not desire the world, that is, run after the fame and possession of the world, or care for the worldly people, that is, crave the friendship and favors of those who worship power and riches.
He was a learned man, and learned men are not inclined towards the world, which is that they are not materialistic, or the worldly people, that is, those who only wish to further their own self-interest.
Number three, he was a brave man, and a brave man do not care for the world or fear the worldly people.
He was a gentleman of most eminent lineage, and such persons do not suffer from complexes about the world or the worldly people.
He further eulogizes him in the following couplets: "Regarding the grandeur and eminence of Imam Ali alayhis salam, it is enough to say that the people mistook him for God, and I could not know till the time of my death whether my provider was Imam Ali alayhis salam or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala." In other words of Pandit Thakur Prasad from in the year 1936 in Jaunpur, UP, India, that Imam Ali alayhis salam was one of those men who stood by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam all his life in everything he did and wanted to be done. Pandit Thakur Prasad further continued that, "As I gather from history written by the Muslims and non-Muslims alike, Imam Ali alayhis salam was Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's constant shadow. He was the Boswell of a Johnson in his dealings with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Imam Ali alayhi salam can rightly be said to be the chief builder of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's power. Likewise, on council chamber and a valiant warrior in the battlefield was he. To his sword had fallen the momentous victories of Khandaq, Uhud, Badr, and Khaybar. But for these, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's mission would have perished in its very inception, and the world would have lost a reformation unequaled in a man's history. The consolidation of the temporal power of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ by Imam Ali alayhi salam made it possible for the message of Islam to be delivered in an unbelieving age. It would thus appear that Imam Ali alayhi salam was the most highly entitled and the best deserved for succession to the Imamat of Islam, both on the strength of his family relationship to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and on the ground of his merits, being the sincerest friend and follower of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Quoted by Lal Ji in the Ali the Magnificent, Gibbon says,
From the first hour of his mission to the last rites of his funeral, the apostle was never forsaken by a generous friend, whom he delighted to name his brother, his vicegerent and faithful Aaron of the second Moses.
Well-known Muslim historian Masudi sums up the life and achievements of Imam Ali alayhi salam in the following words.
The glorious name of being the first Muslim, a comrade of the Prophet in exile, his faithful companion in the struggle for the faith, his intimate mates, associate in life and his kinsman, if a true knowledge of the spirit of his teachings, and of the book, if self-abnegation and practice of justice, if honesty, purity, and love of truth, if knowledge of law and science, constitute to claim the preeminence, then we must all regard Imam Ali alayhi salam as the foremost Muslim. We shall search in vain to find, either among his predecessors or among his successors, those virtues with which God had endowed him.
As quoted by Amir Ali in a short history of the Saracens, Davenport says, he was equally celebrated for his eloquence and valor, while his surname of the Lion of God sufficiently attests his powers, of which one out of many instances is that at the siege of Khaybar in 628 AD. In Imam Ali alayhi salam we find the example of a brave and worthy prince, than whom a better is not to be found throughout the Muhammadan sallallahu alaihi wasallam's world, in Ali the Magnificent.
Hitti, the famous historian, says, Valiant in battle, wise in council, eloquent in speech, true to his friends, magnanimous to his friends, he became both the paragon of the Muslim nobility and chivalry, and the Solomon Arabic tradition, around whose names poems and proverbs, reminiscences and anecdotes innumerable have clustered.
His saber Zulfiqar, wielded by the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ on the memorable battlefield of Uhud, has been immortalized in words of verse found engraved on many medieval Arab swords. La Fatah illa Ali, la Saif illa Zulfiqar.
No sword can match Zulfiqar, and no young warrior can compete with Ali.
Imam Ali alayhi salam. Abu Ali Hussein Ibne Abdullah, commonly known as Bu Ali Sina
or Avicenna, the famous Arab philosopher, astronomer, poet, mathematician, and physician, the greatest thinker of his age, has rightly said that Imam Ali alayhi salam and the Holy Quran were the two miracles of Muhammad, the Prophet of Allah. Life of Imam Ali alayhi salam at every stage was a mirror, like reflection of the life of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Amir Ali writes, 7 centuries before this wonderful man would have been apotheosized. 13 centuries later, his genius and talents, his virtues and valor would have extorted the admiration of the civilized world. As a ruler, he came before his time in the spirit of Islam.